And one gentleman.
Okay, we're
We're
on.
on air. We're on air.
Good evening. It's Thursday evening, the 10th day of January, the year is 2019. I'm Jerry George. It's time for Mek We Chat. And the usual suspects are in the house this evening for another hopefully exciting and delightful evening of discussion of things national, regional, and international. At Master Control, we have George Grant, and there in New York, Margaret Francis, in London, Catherine here. But Sinclair, where is she?
I'm
We're
in a
not sure.
chair. I'm
But
in a
Jerry George
chair
is
in front of my
good,
computer.
right. We know that. Cyberspace. And I'm Jerry George in Kingstown, St. Vincent. Thank you for joining us. And surely we want your involvement and your input as we bring the issues to the fore for discussion this evening. Now, over to our producer, Bev Sinclair. What does she have for us to talk about?
Hmm.
Evening, folks, and let me, as usual, say my very own special welcome to you and thank you for taking the time to join us right here on Mek We Chat. Mek We Chat is where we discuss issues across the Caribbean that affect us, and we do it in a very light-hearted way. We don't want no grumpy face. We don't want no frowns. We want smiles. So even when we're talking about people sitting down and telling us a lie and insulting our intelligence and taking us for granted, we're gonna do it with a smile. No face hurts, you know? So that is what we do on Mek We Chat. We select topics that we believe are important and should be important to you and share some facts about what's happening in the region and hope that it will inspire and propel those who are civic minded and concerned into action to do what you can in your corner of the world, in your corner of the Caribbean, to make this place better for ourselves and especially for the generations that are coming after us. You know, George, I got a message for you, you know, George.
Let me hear you. Let me hear
When
you.
I was when I was going about my business on Tuesday, I met a security officer in full uniform. So as I do where I go, I was talking and he heard me and he said, "That's Beverly, Beverly Sinclair. You're always on with George Grant." I said, "Yeah, that's me." So he came and he shook my hand and he really appreciated this group of suspects. And he said to tell George that he loved to listen to him, you know, but he miss you off the radio, George. He misses you off the radio. He said, "When he coming back on the radio?" I said, "I don't know, but I will tell him that he has a faithful listener who is really, really missing him off the radio."
Well, thank you, Bev. I'm
Here,
touched.
here.
I'm moved. I actually got something similar downtown this afternoon. I went downtown to
What's that noise?
I don't know, somebody's got a loose wire.
Yeah, some loose wires click clicking in the
Yeah,
glass.
I think it's a character with a green and white shirt.
Hmm.
The one from Hawaii.
The one.
Yeah, that one with that prettier shirt.
Yeah, the one
George,
from.
at least. George, at least I thought you'd still decide, man. Come on, you let it on the side. It's three of them against two of us.
Hey,
Hey, hey,
George Smart. That is what it is.
by
Exactly
the way,
so.
thank you very much, Bev. And let's say good evening to Ryan, who's seems like the first person on Facebook tonight. Um, yeah, I mentioned I got the same thing downtown. We had a couple of big cruise ships in here today, and let me tell you, this island is expecting well over 13,000 people here this week. Today we had two ships. Tomorrow we have four. Three of them are big ones, like the ones that were in here today. So I'll tell you, Grenada is taking off as far as the cruise
But
ship industry.
but but my good friend George, what you doing in town? Didn't we get an advisory that we should stay out of town before the place when be full of tourists?
Exactly, Beverly. And
Seriously? There was an advisory that went
Yes,
out?
yeah,
yes.
man.
Yes.
Yes, yes, yeah. And
Wow.
Beverly, I am so glad that you brought that up because the reason why I went down there was to see this horrific or horrendous traffic that was going to be around town today. And I
Yeah.
videotaped it. And once we get through with the program tonight, I'm putting together a package that's going to be aired on tomorrow morning's edition of Good Day Grenada. Throughout the broadcast, you're going to hear me say, but I'm disappointed because I really, yes, there were a few people on the streets, and yes, there was a little action in the Spiceland Mall. And yes, I spoke to some of the vendors who said, well, things are better this year than last year. One person said, you know, but yeah, it's amazing. I thought the streets would have been flooded with people, but they were not. And I even used the excuse. I said, maybe it's the time of day that I'm down here. It was really hot out there today. I went down there around 2 o'clock, and I thought, well, let me see. Maybe some people are still on board having lunch. Maybe some people have gone on island tours and have not yet returned. Maybe some people have gone to the beach. I kept on conjuring up all of these excuses as to why the streets were so bare. Wait until you see tomorrow morning's program. Anyhow, oh, by the way, before I shut my trap here, I just want to turn my focus to my friend there in New York. As usual, just before we got started tonight, her mouth was going at a mile a minute. Now, that's not unusual, okay?
Right, right.
Every Thursday night, Margaret comes on. Every Thursday night.
You're
Now,
I'm
just
glad.
jealous,
I'm
George.
glad.
I am
I'm glad.
curious because I think you all. I'm laughing at Margaret, but I was also in a mad rush as well, and I just managed to put down some what is it, stewed tomatoes and spaghetti. Okay, so now that you all know what I was eating, Margaret, would you please tell us what you were? I noticed you were showing off to Beverly what you were eating, but I couldn't. Would you tell us what you?
Oh, so what I was having, I had plantain, dasheen,
Well,
sweet potato
good thing.
with cabbage, smoked herring, tomatoes, and onions.
Proper meal, proper
How's
meal,
that?
proper meal, proper meal.
In
You
the middle
pass.
of the snow in New York.
Yes, yes, she passed. Proper meal,
Yes,
proper meal.
in the
Oh,
middle of the snow in
Proper
New York.
meal, proper.
That's winter food. That's winter food.
Of course, it's
Yeah,
comfort
that heavy
food.
stuff gets you the heat in the
It's
body.
Yeah,
comfort
that's heavy
food.
stuff that says winter food.
Exactly.
Smoked
a
herring,
few.
Margaret.
Huh?
And,
Smoked herring.
Know what?
Did you say smoked herring?
Yes, I
mhm.
did. From
Souse?
Canada too. The real stuff too. Not this nonsense that comes from China or wherever that has some kind of like chemically thingy thing on it.
You need that.
Margaret,
Mm.
Margaret, Margaret.
Boy, I tell you,
Oh, Margaret.
Margaret,
Le-
that's my kind of food.
Yep.
Yes, man, that's proper food.
Mhm.
But let me say something go back to what George was talking about before. 13,000 visitors. How many ships, George?
Today there were two, and tomorrow there
Right.
will be three big ones.
The thing is that they keep continuing to quote the capacity of the ship
Yes.
and pretending that the capacity of the ship is what's going to come out of the ship. That's nonsense. We need to stop that foolishness.
That's it.
You
Okay.
understand?
What people
I
expect.
got myself into a lot of trouble for that, Mr. George. A lot of trouble because I do know that a lot of people do not come off the ship. Okay.
Yeah.
And yes, the figures I quoted you do represent capacity. I'm looking at the GTA's schedule here. Today we had the Celebrity Reflection with a capacity of 3,000, do the math, 3,609. We had the Preziosa, which had 3,959. Okay? Tomorrow, you have the Britannia, which has a capacity, excuse me, of 4,324. You doing the math? And the Crown Princess, which has a capacity of 3,080, and the Norwegian Dawn, which has a capacity of 2,340. So 5, 9, 12.
That's about nearly 20,000 people.
Huh?
That's nearly 20,000 people.
And hold on. Now, those are capacities, right?
Yes.
As far as crews are concerned, 1398, 1201, 1032, 164, 1271, 1370. So yeah, a lot of people.
But we keep quoting it as if it's the number of persons who come off. What we need to do is to find more activities on a show that will entice more people to come out.
Yeah, and that's going to be difficult. Jerry and Margaret, as somebody who's gone on a lot of cruises, she can tell you, these ships offer virtually everything. It's like you're in a small city when you're out there.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah.
And so there's really no need. I mean, you're in Grenada, big deal. That's one. Two, a lot of when I worked in the industry a few years ago, I got to know a lot of the staff on board, and they would actually tell their passengers, Grenada, leave your wallet on board. Shopping is no big deal. No big deal. That's another reason why we don't get a lot of the cruise ship money. Another one, the cruise ship passengers will tell you, geez, man, it's the 5th, it's the 6th time I'm here, and you're still selling the damn T-shirt.
That's the point. There's no freshness to what we offer.
Yeah.
No freshness to what we offer. Every year we back with the same cruises, the same everything.
And when you are this far south, you have to consider that the tourists have seen a lot already.
That's
so
another thing.
Have something down here to wow them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There has to be a wow.
Yeah.
So, but
anyway,
listen.
Anyway, I guess somebody's making a little buck here and there. But, I mean, please, take a look tomorrow. When I went to the market was bare. I mean, really bare. But some of these people, they're still very thankful, because, as far as they're concerned, half a loaf is better than nada.
No, some people still do make good money, Don't make anybody fool you. There's still good money to be made, right? There's still good money. What I'm saying is that we just need to look at the product once again and find new ways to refresh it. I think there's not a lot of refreshing that's happening.
Because the last time I went home was in 2014, and you buy these spices and things like that, and you still got these spices, ground spices, in a little plastic bag.
Yeah.
And I thought, what is going on? How do you expect for the person to use this thing?
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, wow, I was so ashamed, honestly. In a little plastic bag.
Yeah.
Come on, innovate, do something new. It's not attractive. People wouldn't buy it.
Look at
I
that.
have personally talked to vendors about the packaging of their products.
Yeah.
And the response is along the line that people not gonna buy it for more than this. So because that's what it looks like, it costs. You couldn't sell that the way it's packaged for more than what you're selling.
Selling it, yeah.
But if you take
But it's not easy for people to make that transition. People just don't know how to make that transition. Because another problem that a lot of people have who are still there in business, they look at the customer's pocket like theirs. And that's the problem that they have.
Yep.
They see the customer's pocket by their limitations.
Yes. And sometimes people will come with money to spend, but they do not see anything.
What spending it on?
Spending it on.
Yeah.
So they pick up a little thing just to show that they were in this country. But if you had a nice thing out there, they'd buy it.
Absolutely.
And that is why I say there need to be a wow when they get here. Has to be a reason. Because I don't know, many of you know my real peeve with this ad, the Royal Caribbean ad. This is not the Caribbean. It's the Royal Caribbean. Boy, fun me every time I
Is
hear
there? But you know why? Because they can say that,
They
and
can say that.
particularly, and
Yes.
particularly if you've been on the bigger ships that they're bringing out now, really and truly, there's no real need for me to get off a boat
They
if
have
I don't want
everything.
to.
Yeah.
They have
Listen,
Absolutely not.
listen. Where I live,
Um,
right? Where I live, on my way into Kingstown, the ship is boated right under the lookout, so you could look over onto the ship, and you see these people frolicking there in the pools. They're riding around, they're doing everything,
they
and
have
then
the horseback riding, they
yeah,
have the zip
you
line, they
look
have
out
the
there, and there are more people you are seeing there than people who came off the ship.
of
Yeah, and I
course.
mean, and that's what you're seeing. That's what you're seeing up on deck. But then there are all the
Hmm.
other activities that are taking place below deck.
Because
Right.
There are shows going on, there are
Of
competitions going
course.
on, there are all kinds of things that are taking place
Activities.
on
People want to
a
do
thing here.
things.
So there's really no need to come off if you don't want to come off the ship.
exactly,
Hmm.
exactly.
Some people come on to
Um,
get back their land legs, because they're being
The other
chased, so
thing that
they come
happens
off to do
too
that.
is that the other thing that happens too, I think too, a lot of people, particularly if they're repeat cruisers, they sort of like get tired too, and you overhear conversations like when you sit down for dinner, and that's another thing that happens. Like when you get to the table for dinner, people who would have sailed before, they tend to discuss the ports on the table, so they may say things about a port, whether you should go see it, or if you do go, what specifically you should go
Exactly.
look at and stuff. So, word of mouth, again, is kind of like another thing that could either
Oh,
make or
huge.
break you on a cruise.
Huge.
And so, and the ship pushes their tours a lot. So, a lot of times people, you buy your tour on the ship and you just get off, you jump in the bus and you go your merry little way, unless you decide to explore. On your own, but generally people do that a lot.
Yeah.
So
There are a few comments showing up here on Facebook, and I don't want to leave them out. Yes. Anthony DeRiggs says, something I never thought about. When tourists wander about in great numbers, what bathroom facilities are available for them? Just asking. Anthony. Well, who's going to answer the man?
well, I don't know. I don't necessarily want to knock Grenada on that, because I've gone to other ports and you don't necessarily have bathroom facilities readily available. Like if you go into businesses and stuff, you may be able to, you may, and that is may. But generally, like if you go to beach areas and stuff like that, you're more likely to find those things available. But in terms of,
But the
happening.
Esplanade Mall where the ships dock, they have
Yeah, they have-
public facilities.
they have-
Right,
they have
right.
proper
So like you
facilities
come
there.
into port there, that's fine. But
Mhm.
once you, and which is true for most ports. But kind of like once you wander out, if you were to like, just walk around St. George's, for example, there are bathroom facilities over in the market.
Yeah.
But but really and truly, so I don't think that, based on the places that I've gone to, I haven't seen too much of that being available if you're wandering along the streets. But
No,
like
but
if you
in
went,
some other places, as you said, the malls and stuff will have.
right,
That's
right.
that's where we lack. We don't have. Most of the shops will not allow you to use their facilities
Right,
for
unless
obvious
you're like
reasons.
purchasing something or something of
Right.
the sort.
So-
Even
Yeah.
if you're shopping, they
Even
facilitate
for shopping.
customers.
We have a couple of people in parish number 7 tonight. Jerry, do you know where parish number 7 is?
Where what?
Parish
number 7.
7.
Parish.
Number 7.
That
Of course you do.
that vencía no Grenada, boy. That vencía no Grenada. Parish number 7 must,
Parish number 7.
yeah.
Yeah.
I've never heard of it before.
John,
Oh,
Jerry.
come on, Jerry.
I have never heard of it before.
Okay, and it's so close to him. That's the thing.
yeah, that's the thing.
So what? Just the other day he was there.
You know.
Grenada has 6. And what's the 7th one?
Are
Oh,
you
so
serious,
karaoke?
Catherine?
Right, Jerry. That's the name that we have an expat who
I'm smart. I'm smart. I'll get it. I just need to be given the information.
you need
I'm
time.
smart.
You need time.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Jerry. Well, let's explain to Jerry how that came about. We have an expat who lives in a British gentleman who lives in Carriacou, retired, and he's living in Carriacou. And he now refers to, he's the person who coined that name, parish number 7. Okay? His name is John.
Yeah, because on the mainland, especially the National Disaster Management Agency, They always send out news releases referring to Caribou as a dependency. I don't know why they won't stop. Grenada and its dependencies.
Are they still around?
Really?
Caribou and Petite Martinique are part of Grenada. So you're
Yes.
talking about Grenada and its dependencies. You must be talking about St. Vincent and the rest of the Grenadines.
You know. But no, in the national anthem of St. Vincent, there's a clause that people get work set about. Our little sister islands are those gems, the lovely Antilles, and they have a grenadine person get blue mad when they hear that.
Our little sister islands. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
Yeah.
Some people have called for the rewriting of those lines.
Well, yeah.
There's always been that
Always.
condescension.
Always.
One of the people in parish number 7, John, is saying tonight the tour operators all go to the same places at the same time, like a flock of sheep.
Nowhere else.
Instead of half going one way and the others going the other way, giving some space at the attractions. So says John. Agatha Jordan, whom I'm pretty darn sure is also in Carriacou, she says, with all those people in Grenada, very few would buy a nutmeg.
A nutmeg.
Yeah. So anyhow, I didn't know tourism was one of your topics tonight. Hold on a minute. Agatha Jordan
Certainly
says,
wasn't.
Hold on. Hold on. Agatha Jordan says, George, I've never heard of this parish number 7, and I'm a kayak.
See? See? And they're trying to make me sound like I was like some,
Don't worry, Agatha Jordan.
That's Jerry. That's
On
the
this
reason.
show, we have made Caribou parish number 7.
Jerry, that's the
As it
reason why I
is.
took the time to explain.
She's
Okay,
Agatha or George?
Jordan.
Jordn.
Let me go and see if my doors are locked. I just see a note come here say there's a prisoner that has escaped from
Richmond Hill.
Yeah. And his name is Haley Phillip. He's from Grenans. He was on remand for robbery, but he's also known to be a rapist.
Ouch.
So please be vigilant tonight.
Let me go close my door.
From robbery?
Hey, he's experienced it, Don't forget that.
Yeah. What, the robbery or the...
Yeah.
Jerry.
I didn't say anything.
You didn't have to. You didn't have to. Yeah.
We're just a wicked bunch.
There was a post on the internet today on Facebook where 3 prisoners helped that prison officer. They was out, I think, picking up rubbish, something like that. And they helped the prison. That's in America, Margaret. And they helped that prison officer who was having a stroke. I think he died afterwards. They helped him.
Mm-hmm.
He was getting ill on the job, and they helped him out until they used his phone to call 911, and they stayed with him until help come. 3 prisoners.
Yeah, we should. That's
Yeah.
human
They
nature.
are still human beings.
Yep.
Yeah, they didn't run away or anything like that, but he died afterwards. He was having a stroke.
Mm.
They did help him out.
Good news
I was
and
so
bad
sick to
news.
hear that.
Yeah.
All right. Who else am I saying hello to tonight? Besides the Facebook pilgrims out there, Burlington, Ontario in Canada, a whole number of people in Germany. Germany keeps showing up, but they rarely ever tell you the names of the cities. One I do see showing up is Stuttgart. Okay.
Stuttgart.
Ashford in England, Road Town in the Virgin Islands, Brooklyn, New York, Hillsborough, Carriacou, Pigot's in Antigua, Barbuda, Thornhill, Ontario, Wilde, Barbados, and a few others. So, folks, there you go. Beverly, have you done your menu yet tonight?
No, I have not touched the menu as yet.
Yeah, because the wayward crew was being them usually.
Yeah, we ended up
wayward.
You're very wayward crew.
No, listen, we just did a whole topic that was not on the menu,
Exactly, we did it.
No. and cruise visitors and the way the numbers are presented to give us the idea that all these people are going to be here, you
Yeah.
know,
About
and our advisory that we should stay out of town. Plenty tourists coming. Don't go and block up the place.
Yeah.
You guys are terrible, terrible, terrible
Absolutely
dreamers.
terrible.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
And George disobey and gone down there. Eh?
You
young man
know,
running around taking video
no
all day.
example whatsoever.
Yeah. By
We
the
went to
way,
report.
somebody just chimed in here on Facebook. I guess they're not going to let you guys forget this parish number 7 thing. Somebody by the name of R. Don Cudjoe, huh? Says parish number 7. I like that.
Yeah.
But on our menu tonight, we are supposed to have a guest suspect. She said she'd join us round about 9 o'clock, at least in the second half of the show. She wants to share with us some experiences she has had with the Child Protection Services in Grenada, an authority that's responsible for taking care of and protecting children whose family situations are not able to take care of them, or maybe they are just orphans. And she wants to share some experiences. Now, I'm not a person who can deal with trauma with children. You know, I can give money to children charities, any amount of money, any amount of thing. But it's when I come in contact with those children that are being abused and in those kind of situations, I don't know, I just totally fall apart. I really do. Yeah. Yeah, because our children are not responsible for being here. And I could never wrap my head around how an adult could mistreat a child. I just
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
get
yeah.
it.
I feel sick about that stuff. I always say that I could not be on a jury of such a case
I don't want to
because
hear it.
we don't need to deliberate.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
guilty
I
from the
don't.
Let
start.
me let
I
me just
You
get
don't.
to the point.
understand?
Exactly.
Yeah. You could spare us. You're guilty from the start.
Yeah, I don't want to hear nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and those who are responsible at the state level for children, some kind of worse than where the children coming from,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yeah.
Or guess Miss Modest wants to share some experiences with us. Maybe we could look at what we could do to help a child to make it better. I saw this story on Facebook today about this girl, and it's funny. Mikhail something. She's a ballerina. That girl. She's from Africa. And I saw the story about how she was born in one of those war-torn countries. She lost her father in the Civil War, lost her mother to some kind of disease, and all of that before she got to the ripe old age of 5. She was in an orphanage, but she has vitiligo, that disease that is
That dizziness, yeah.
right, and she was said to be evil because of her skin. So she was put at the bottom of the list in the orphanage, and she got the last of everything, sometimes nothing. And her best friend was the one that was before her, of course. So she was 27 and that other girl was 26. They were at the bottom of the ladder. And when people started to adopt, they would send you picture books of the families that are going to adopt you. And everybody get a picture book except her. And she was devastated because her best friend was going to leave her. But when the parents came to adopt that one and saw the situation, they took them both. And they knew that young girl is now a top ballerina, famous. Because she said when she was in the orphanage one day, the wind blew this magazine with a girl in a ballerina pose on the cover. And she says what struck her was not just the fact that it was so unusual to her, but that she looked happy. And she wanted to be happy because she had never experienced happiness in her life. And she kept that magazine when she was adopted and taken to the US. She had the magazine with her. It was her most prized possession. It inspired her from those days, and she managed to realize her dream. Top ballerina, they said she choreographed one of Beyonce's solo pieces that she did in one of her performances. That's one of the highlights of her career. And she's in her early 20s right now, I think, just about 22, and I can tell you what she was doing.
It's amazing what could motivate you.
Exactly, precisely so. So when I see people take children and just just abuse them and treat, I don't know, I totally fall apart. And it makes me angry. It really makes me angry.
Yep.
When she joins us later, she will share some of those experiences with us, and I really hope it will inspire us and we'll be motivated to see how we can assist a child, even one child, who is in a situation where they really need help. But there are many ways to do it. Many ways that can be done. So that's one item on our menu. And we also wanted to look at the Scotiabank sale. I think we need to talk a little bit more about that. I know Jerry has been following. Jerry has been following the Antigua response.
But that's the only response right now.
He's not the only one. He's the only one, which is hilarious. You see?
No. Guyana made some early noises, but Guyana kind of realized where they were. The only person still making noise.
Guyana, big up iron in the fire right now.
That's not the banking community, you know. That's not the banking community, my friend.
But it's the same people make noise for everything, you know, right? Oh, fire hot. So we want to look at the Scotiabank sale, and we also wanted to touch on the protest in Grenada. But right now, George, at the control, let's take a little break and come back.
Hey, Lynn.
Hey, neighbor.
Here's the bill I asked you to pay for me.
How did you get your electricity bill to be so low?
For one, we size our transformers just for what we need. And we unplug transformers, chargers, and other devices when they're not in use. We also replaced our light bulbs with LEDs.
They burn less energy, right?
Much less. I even replaced the seal on my refrigerator door to keep the cold air in.
And Grenlec is always advising us not to open the fridge too often.
That's right. And my family washes and irons in bulk.
With fuel prices changing all the time, how do you know if it is working?
We pay attention to the usage history table. Over time, our average usage has decreased.
So while Grenada can't control fuel prices, I can conserve energy and save money.
GRENADAB, energizing our Grenada. Juve chocolates, cocoa nibs, and cocoa balls from Diamond Estate Grenada are now available at Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, Amazon.co.uk, and GrenadaMarket.com. Try the sensational touch of nutmeg and a touch of ginger chocolates, 75% dark and rich, 100% pure cocoa, and their 60% dark and sweet chocolate bars today. Amazon Prime members enjoy free shipping on these orders in the USA, Canada, and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
Grenadian General Insurance Company, strength and stability. Grenadian General Insurance Company, tell your friends, tell your family. We cover householders comprehensive, motor and even fire too. Contractors all risk burglary, public liability, professional indemnity, directors liability, and wait, we still have more. Come and find out more what you're waiting for.
We are located on Scott Street, St. George's. For more information, call 440-2434.
Tell everybody.
Welcome back to this edition of Mek We Chat. The Sinclair, Catherine Edwards, Margaret Francis, George Francis, and yours truly, Jerry George.
George Francis.
George.
Hey,
Margaret.
Margaret. Margaret.
I give you Margaret's name, that's all.
Boy,
You know,
it's
I'm
amazing.
telling you,
It's
I
amazing.
want to know what's going on here. I thought it was the other way around.
I mean,
All they leave me alone.
the
That they
wedding,
say, a slip of the tongue is no fault of the mind.
the wedding took place, and I didn't even know about
So
it.
you say,
Yes, so we're back. As I said, we
Right.
started with a quite impromptu subject, but which obviously had a lot of stuff to share. So there we go.
Very relevant.
Mhm.
Now we want to go into some business. Republic Bank and Scotiabank entered into an arrangement, and the Prime Minister of Antigua is not happy about it. Incidentally, I must say that the officials of Scotiabank and Republic Bank Republic Bank across the Caribbean, they have begun making the rounds, haven't they, Jerry?
I don't know if they've been here, but I am sure that they would be doing the rounds. I mean, there's no question
I
about
think
it.
I went to St. Kitts already.
Already? Well, yeah, but as the central bank, they would go.
There
Yeah,
she
somebody.
is.
Mhm. So, listen, this matter is a done deal. For all the talk, before they even got to deciding on the sale, they have their own regulatory lawyers who would have touched base with the regulators and know what they need to do. We behaving like this is something big for them. For these people, this is just another business transaction. They're accustomed to do this.
It's interesting because the Prime Minister of Grenada, Dr. Keith Mitchell, who is also the Minister of Finance, he has said, well, they don't see no problem with the transaction. They have no reservation. They have really, it's neither here nor there with the government of Grenada. They're good to go.
If even you had reservation, what could it be? The people selling. Right? And according to our constitution, a person has the right to dispose of their assets. If there's a seller and there's a buyer,
It's
as long as there are
yours,
no
you own it.
right, as long as there are no regulatory issues that are at stake, and in this case, really there are none.
well, here's a question that I was playing with in my head with all of this going back and forth. If Scotiabank decided that they were just going to close shop, not sell to anybody, couldn't they just close shop and leave?
Exactly. Precisely.
So what is the difference between them selling to somebody else and
Precisely.
closing shop and leave?
Which is what nearly happened with RBTT in Grenada. Because that is precisely what happened before Republic came in and took them over. You see, we make all of these gambades. If they decide to shut down, in fact, then it's when the country going to look bad. Because if you have a bank decide, okay, fair enough, we had enough of this place, let's close shop. You know what that says about the country?
That means you don't have anything to keep us here.
Exactly.
You're not that important.
You're not important anymore in the scheme of things.
Whatever we're going to lose here, we can make up for it somewhere else.
Yeah, we're prepared to say.
Have a nice day.
We're prepared to say we cut our losses, and that's that.
I think the other thing that had me cracking up too was his comments about the corresponding banking.
No, that part is just ludicrous.
I mean, really? So what you're telling me is that you could force another bank outside of there to be your correspondent bank? Really?
Seems that, but not only that. The basis on which the Prime Minister Gaston Brown was making this argument about the corresponding bank is that if Scotia sold the assets, and he could clearly only mean the buildings and stuff, that would put them in a better position for corresponding. Hello. That is what I found truly amazing. The whole question of corresponding, you could operate out of a shoe hole.
Yeah.
If you obey the rules of the banks, you are accepted as the corresponding banks will accept you. You could operate out of the most palatial of buildings and you don't meet the rules, they don't want you. It has nothing to do with the shape, size, look of your physical assets.
Precisely.
But he sold that as being, this will make them more attractive. Really? I found that to be the most disgusting of all these statements.
Yeah.
That is really playing to us and saying we're not stupid, because that can't make no sense. And
so
worse yet,
hold a second, Jerry. I see Mrs. Modest. We can see that she's on. We're not yet seeing her image. Her microphone, however, is muted.
Yeah.
I want to know if she's hearing us. So if you are hearing us, Mrs. Modest, just unmute your mic and say something so that we know that you're hearing us and that we can hear you, so that we can invite you into our conversation. Because even if you're muted, you should still be hearing us, but you have to unmute for us to hear you. So click on the microphone, take off that little red line, and let us know if you're hearing us. All right, so we'll continue in the meantime.
She isn't, is she? Doesn't look
I
that way.
don't know, but she hasn't unmuted, I see. So maybe she's hearing us. Right, so the Prime Minister, Dr. Timothy Harris, yesterday, as a matter of fact, held what has been termed cordial and productive discussions with officials of the Trinidad-based Republic Financial Holdings Limited and representative Scotiabank regarding the move to acquire Scotiabank operations in several Caribbean countries. Last November, the Republic Financial Holdings Limited announced that it was seeking to acquire Scotiabank operations, even as Antigua and Barbuda and Guyana have expressed reservations about the proposed acquisition, with Antigua indicating that it will not be issuing a vesting order to facilitate the move. Place your hair. Prime Minister Dr. Timothy Harris. Okay, that's not part of this. A statement from Republic Bank said that the banks being acquired are located in Guyana, St. Martin, Anguilla, Antigua and Barbuda, Dominica, Grenada, St. Kitts Nevis, St. Lucia, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The purchase price is US $123 million, which represents $25 million consideration for total shareholding of Scotiabank Anguilla Limited and a premium of $98 million US over net asset value for operations in the remaining 8 countries. The RFHL delegation was led by its chairman, Ronald Harford, while Scotiabank was represented by a 2-member team headed by Brendan King, Senior Vice President of International Banking. A government statement issued following the talks noted that Prime Minister Harris was informed of RFHL's commitment to welcoming all of Scotiabank's staff into the Republic Group. It said this would increase the group's staff complement to over 6,000. Right, so that was just a little bit on the meeting with Scotiabank officials and Republic Bank officials in St. Kitts. So
I could understand why St. Kitts, because they clearly went to the central bank.
Yeah,
and they took the opportunity while they were there to speak with the Prime Minister.
But they did announce that they'd be making the rounds. So I guess PM Brown.
And I guess that's the best place to start. The central bank.
PM Brown will get his moment.
Sure will.
Well, they were supposed to have met yesterday, Yesterday was the 9th. They should have met yesterday. We were trying to find out.
No, yesterday they were in St. Kitts.
No, that's what was announced, that they were supposed to meet on the 9th.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. I was trying to find any trace of anything, but I haven't found anything.
I have not seen any report of them being in Antigua yesterday.
Yeah, right. So I don't know if but yes, it was announced that the 9th was the day.
Yeah. So, they are making the rounds, just as far as I'm concerned, paying courtesy calls.
Yeah, that's what they have to do.
Yeah, because they're going to move forward.
Absolutely. To move forward.
Oh my goodness.
That's an understatement.
Well, why is it that our Prime Minister like give the impression that they're larger than life?
Yeah, and it makes us look stupid, quite frankly. It really makes us look stupid. Because chat all he wants, the Prime Minister could chat. He has no control. He will not give sign the vesting document. So don't sign it.
Oh, please.
And the other thing that he's sending a signal that makes no sense is that a bank stands on its own. So he talked about this business of forcefully acquiring the bank, which was just another crazy thing, right? So if you acquire the bank, you think that any country that goes and acquire banks, that the other bank, the rest of the banking community is going to continue to do business with you? Like if nothing happened?
But that one still has me scratching. Well, I'm going to stop scratching my head because it's just ridiculous. The Scotiabank in Antigua is a branch.
It's a branch. Exactly.
How is he going to forcefully acquire the branch?
Precisely. And as if he acquired the branch.
Chop it off the tree?
No, the whole thing is, I never thought, to be frank with you, but let me say this, right? Prime Minister Gaston Brown started out his term as Prime Minister with exactly that approach. The very first time the IMF went to Antigua, after he had taken office, if I don't know, I'm going to talk about it, pull up the article. After he had taken office, he had some scathing words for the IMF. Now, the previous administration had been in an IMF program, and by the time he got to office, they were like towards the end of the payments. But he clearly wasn't happy with the payments and with the whole procedure. And did he tell off the IMF? That forced the three big banks to run to Antigua to tell him, listen, so this work, don't do that. All right? Don't do that. You know what he said to them? Oh, we can get monies from Venezuela. We will make out. Sometimes I wonder if they sit back and think anymore about those things.
Yeah.
I can see if I find that article.
When you say Venezuela, you know, I just think that the president of our Senate was just down there, you know, endorsing the swearing of Maduro for as president of the country. So if Grenada, I'm wondering if it's just Grenada or the rest of CARICOM has approved this presidency.
Well,
jeez. What can I say?
Oh, well.
El Presidente. I'll leave that one alone. You see, some things not for airplay. But the other piece of business news, which should be of interest to everyone, is that Flow has taken Digicel to court in Grenada over the fact that Digicel has gone ahead and launched its LTE service. And Flow is objecting to this so strongly that they've taken the matter to court. So Ectel has been sued.
Right.
Ectel has been called to court. The NTRC has been called to court. Minister Gregory Boyne has been called to court.
No, I understand that might have some revelation there. Just wait and see.
Because they all have to go and explain why is it that Digicel get its LTE license and Flow don't get none.
Well, here's the thing that kind of like sometimes I guess these people don't think before they speak. Mouth open, word rumpled. You can't do things like that. Now, I listened to Bowen's explanation about this whole issue. But the part of the explanation that stuck with me was when he said, well, Digicel is putting out this amount of money for the government in St. Vincent, and they're doing this for the government of Grenada, and the government program has got to go on. And it kind of negated every single thing that he said in the beginning, because even if there was validity to the arguments in the beginning, you just came around and say, look, we give Digicel the license because they give us money. End of the story.
Yeah.
I mean, was he seriously thinking when he made his comments?
But no, I tell you, if that matter proceeds from what I have been understanding, if that matter proceeds through the court, there might be some interesting revelation.
Yeah,
And it might
I
be
kind of
better
like
for them
get a
to just
sense.
deal with that.
Yes, I got a
And that
sense
is
of that
why
from
I
talking
think
to
Flo,
someone else.
Flo is pushing it, because Flo knows that they have their back up against the wall, and they wouldn't want that matter through the court system. They wouldn't. So let's see how that works out. But what, on the other hand, Digicel is saying that there was another company, I can't remember the name of the company, that had a license for it's about the frequencies that they can operate in with the ULT, right? So this other company, little company, there had a license, and Digicel went in a deal with them to use their license. So that is how Digicel got ahead of them. So it wasn't that they necessarily got okay from Ectel directly. Is that I don't think there's any law that says if this company has a license that they cannot use it. I don't think there's any law that says that. So Digicel was able to use that company, went to a deal with that company to use their license so as to leapfrog the system.
Which is all well and good. But the other
It's
thing
business.
that's business. The thing is though that they need to understand is that the ultimate head of Flow's parent company, is not an idiot. This guy is an expert in telecoms. This guy owns patents and whatnot and everything else. So this is not somebody, you're not dealing with somebody who doesn't know what he's talking about.
Oh, he knows.
He
precisely.
knows what he's talking about. So they better have all their ducks in a row, because they're not going to be playing with somebody who doesn't know this thing. That is that man's life.
And that is why I said to you, they might be better in a better position to kind of stop that from traversing.
Oh yeah. Because he can, with the flick of a little finger, he could pretty much have all of them swimming. Yeah. I don't think people know. You know what it is that I think that they don't know who the parent company is. A lot of people don't know, far less who is the head of the parent company. It's kind of like strange, for once you have somebody who heads a company that is actually a part of the industry, who knows the industry, came up in that thing, studied that thing, worked that thing, knows the ins and outs of it. Is an engineer, scientist, blah, blah, blah,
the minister said in a news report I was hearing with him that Flo applied for the license to operate, and this is what the minister said, you see? And it's not verbatim, but a paraphrasing, to operate on a part of the signal where ILCOM also applied to operate. So the two of them put in the application to use the same space.
Right.
But Digicel's application was for a different space. So there was no hindrance in this space in the way of Digicel. So they could get their license. But Flo and ILCOM now have to sort out what they're going to do with that space before they can issue the license for Flo. That's what he said.
Right.
Interesting.
But this is what I'm saying though, Beverly. That all sounded rational in the beginning. Is what followed immediately after that. All in that same thing, which is when he went on to talk about what Digicel is doing in St. Vincent and what Digicel did for Grenada. So it negated everything that went before.
Show me the money.
Yep.
That is usually what it comes down to.
I've said this before. I got introduced a couple of weeks ago for it here. I do not like the systems of regulations in these countries. Nope. The regulation has no independence. And as long as the regulation has no independence, don't fool you now. I know it's a small country, and even when, for example, you have something like the supervisor of elections who's supposed to be independent, or the DPP supposed to be independent, there have been instances when people feel that independence has been breached. But that being the case, right? At least the Constitution gives them that right to independence, right? Exactly. But the structure of look, we had a situation, right? Look, we had a situation with Ectel. So St. Vincent, we opened the airport. The Prime Minister walks out with ICA to fly a plane into the unfinished airport. That couldn't happen nowhere else. But it's because of the close relationship and the impact that the people who are supposed to be the governors have with the regulators. And the regulators seem to feel that once the government wants something, that they should give it. As long as we have that kind of regulation, because there are some other serious issues in the case of telecoms that should be dealt with, they're not being dealt with. They're not being dealt with.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I fully agree
But
with that.
as I say, their best bet would to fix that thing before it goes to the court. Because if it goes to the court, some stuff's gonna come up.
Nah, man, let it flow.
Well, that's I only say
flow.
that from a public relations perspective. But
I understand that, and I'm saying let it flow.
Yeah, the rest of us are.
Let it flow.
We have a popcorn. We get to a cozy seat.
Of course.
Are we waiting there? Pen ready.
Let the games.
Pen's ready,
Let
man.
the games begin.
Let the games begin. Right. So those are some of the things that are going to be impacting business across the region, and we all, especially when it comes to the internet, digital service, that is something every single one of us need to be paying attention to, you see?
Well, Beverley, you mentioned that is something I pants up about recently. I do not think that our leaders understand what we're playing with here, The internet, right, is going to be tantamount to what happened when electricity came in. And the development that took place around electricity. It's the same thing we're talking about here now. It's just a different way. But it's the same thing.
I don't think it's not that it is going to be. I mean,
that's where it is.
It's already there.
It is.
It is. Yeah, it is.
You walk into your house.
It is.
The moment, as a matter of fact, even in your vehicle, while you're on the road, you're using the internet. You see your house from your front door, from your alarm system, everything. We just live in a digital world.
And that's
it's
it.
just where it is. But you see, the other problem that Jerry mentions there is that they don't understand. I mean, these people have no clue about what they're talking about.
No, they don't.
And it's all well and good. I'm not saying that they need to know every single thing, but you need to have people around you who know. And the unfortunate thing is that they don't have people around them who know.
And even if they do, when they go into the meetings, they still want to speak. You see, the United States system, they have these experts who will come and their job is to support the government in terms of things. And when they have stuff, these are the people up front. But in our islands, and I plan to tell a story. I think I might have told you about it when I just come back as a young engineer, in fact, technician, and I looked at something happen, and that has informed me about what happened. In fact, I put up 2 pieces last week when Congress was interviewing both the head of Google and Mark Zuckerberg. The questions that they were asking, you could see the 2 of them look like, really?
But the funny thing, it's funny that you should bring that up, right? Because I was listening to a piece this evening on that, and the person made a comparison between how the U.S., how the U.S. dealt with Zuckerberg and still compared to how the EU dealt with it.
Right.
And they were saying that, the people at the EU knows the stuff.
Yeah.
Compared to a bunch of old white guys who don't have a clue about the difference between a fork and a spoon.
The people at the EU have experts who deal with the experts.
But actually, the
woman,
right, and the woman who the woman who spearheads their stuff. I mean, that woman, she's just brilliant as far as that is concerned. She's on the ball with every single thing that you talk about. Exactly. These guys on Capitol, it's like they were laughing and saying that they were referring to Facebook as what is the Facebook or something like that.
No, I remember when I was looking at it actually live, right? When I was looking at it live, I was killing myself. Because I'm going like, really?
Yeah, but that's what you have when you have a bunch of old white fogies who figure.
But they have the same problem in the Caribbean. But we have the same problem in the Caribbean. Our politicians, what's the average age and experience of the average Caribbean politician? What is it?
Well, and I don't want to knock somebody because they age, because there are some old folks who are really savvy on that stuff. But I mean, you have a bunch of dumb folks in Congress who don't have a clue about this stuff, but they want to be investigating it. I mean, how can you investigate something you don't know?
Exactly.
Investigate and regulate.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to me. I was just at the last
Canto
conference, right? I can say this boldly. When I saw the ministers who represented telecoms on the stage to speak about the issues, it angered me. Because you could tell they don't know. But they're the ones who must make the decisions.
Hey, well, when your minister could get up and say Wi-Fi, how you expect him to know?
We feed what?
Well,
I mean, the whole world knows Wi-Fi. He is the only person who knows it as Wi-Fi.
You're being carried too good.
No, you read too well. No, but seriously, when I saw what happened, I knew that we were in trouble. These people do not understand an industry that they are supposed to be regulating.
Yep.
And let me tell you something, you know. I mean, let me put it straight on the table. I am an ex-telecoms engineer. I came through all of the fancy periods. Even today, there are some issues that if I think I go to my son and I say, hey boy, what this thing here mean and do? But I at least have a basic understanding. And the world has changed so rapidly in the last few years. And I hear people boasting that some people have been with Excel from its inception. You know, has technology changed since then? Eh? Look, we're going to LTE. Is LTE we're talking about now? It's completely different kettle of fish. So when we started at 2G, right? Look where we reached now. But you have the same people who don't even understand a clue what happened in between the regulators. For real? Nah, can't be serious.
Please. Even me that trying to read up stuff and follow stuff is like every day. Just when I think I get onto something, it's like boom. Look, did you pay attention to CES and what was coming out of CES this week?
No, I have it actually bookmarked, but I haven't read it as yet. No. I haven't read it because the predictions for technology and stuff, yeah. I have it bookmarked.
Yeah.
No, I mean that is where we are. And if we continue not to understand what the real drivers will be in our region, then we are going to fail again. We're just going to continue to pull up the rear.
You know, and the thing is, I think people think that, you know, people are going to sit and wait for you. Ain't nobody sitting and wait. We're going. If you want to sit and think that I'm sitting to wait for you.
No,
we have this project.
Before you talk about the project, let's take a break and come back.
Okay. And let's find out what's happening with Ms. Modest.
Hey, Lynn.
Hey, neighbor.
Here's the bill I asked you to pay for me.
How did you get your electricity bill to be so low?
For one, we size our transformers just for what we need. And we unplug transformers, chargers, and other devices when they're not in use. We also replaced our light bulbs with LEDs.
They burn less energy, right?
Much less. I even replaced the seal on my refrigerator door to keep the cold air in.
And Grenlec is always advising us not to open the fridge too often.
That's right. And my family washes and irons in bulk.
With fuel prices changing all the time, how do you know if it is working?
We pay attention to the usage history table. Over time, our average usage has decreased.
So while Grenada can't control fuel prices, I can conserve energy and save money.
GRENADAB, energizing our Grenada.
Okie dokie, folks. We are back. We are back.
We are back.
At least I am, and Jerry is, and Catherine is, and Margaret is. Where did
No, Margaret isn't. She's muted, so she can't be back for sure.
Oh, she's not
She's
showing
hearing you,
muted.
actually.
Hello, I'm here. What's up?
Oh,
Yeah.
listen, Catherine, you found your tongue?
Sorry?
You found your tongue? I'm actually hearing from you now.
I know. Can you imagine?
Eh? And by the way, we've also been joined on Facebook by Wilmot Mark. You guys know Wilmot? No?
Who? What's the name?
W-I-L-M-O-T.
No.
Mark? Hello, Wilmot. Beverly, who are you calling? The Queen? Beverly.
Now we're trying to
Oh,
get
dear.
the guest
We're trying to
link
get
sorted out.
yeah.
Okay, she's trying to get Mrs.
Yeah.
Modeste. Yeah, I think her
Yeah.
first name's Rachel. Well.
Hold a sec, please. Hold a sec. Hold on, we're back on here. You found it?
You mute back your microphone, Beverly. Mute yourself. Yeah, but I was going back to say that recently we had a situation where China launched landed a lunar craft on the dark side of the moon. I mean, these things are where technology is going. And that is why I'm saying, look at, Margaret, you shared with me an article this week, I think it was last night or the night before, that spoke to the fact that even in journalism, we're not seeing the proper use of digital technology. Something I've always said. You know, you have the technology. So, for example, when we still can't cover the region, I'm saying, why can't we? We have the technology. But people have been resistive of using the technology. I do not see sufficient use of the social technology in our businesses. I do not see sufficient use of it. I mean, a lot of people will tell you, oh, you see, yes, it will work for X business, but my business is different. And as long as we keep that kind of mindset, we'll never garner the opportunities that they present to us, nor see the benefits of them. And that is sad, really, for where we are as a people in the world. Because quickly moving along, you know what is coming our way? Is artificial intelligence. And artificial intelligence has the possibility of even taking away more of our jobs. Because as more technology takes over things in that regard, more jobs are going to come in question. Do we sit down and consider these things? We don't. We absolutely don't.
Our guest is having real trouble with the microphone because she says the computer is telling her that it's unable to detect the microphone.
Ooh.
Yeah.
She doesn't have a headphone?
Yes, and she's hearing us on the headphone.
Oh, but you can't pick up the
microphone. I'm wondering if the headphone doesn't have a microphone on
That's what I'm saying. That might be if you get her to take out the headphone and see if she could hear everything back through the thing. Because if it's an ordinary microphone that doesn't have a mic, it will detect it.
Yeah.
That's the problem there.
Oh, that's the message she said she's getting. And we'd love to have her on. So let me go back in.
Yes, go back and try to see if you can start out.
Troubleshooting mode.
Yeah.
So yes,
folks,
Jerry,
I was saying,
you were mentioning that China has landed the spacecraft on the dark side of the moon?
Yeah, I just mentioned that a while ago, right? And I'm saying this is where technology is going today.
Why the
But in
dark
the
side? Why the dark side? They're afraid the Americans were going to see them in daylight.
well, it should really be called the far side of the moon and not so much the dark side
Oh, I
because it's
see.
not
Okay.
really dark.
All right.
That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
It's
not really
kind of
dark.
like the side that's away
Yeah.
from Earth.
Yeah.
Right from Earth. So when we
The
look
other
at it
side.
and we see it, we tend to see it in shadow. But the reason why it was more challenging is that that side has more craters. It's like crater upon crater upon crater. So finding a spot to put down
Yeah.
a lunar module gently was where the challenge was. But they have proven that they could do it.
I'm so
Right.
glad you cleared that up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what that means.
Yeah.
And mhm.
Go ahead.
No, but we had them landing something on Mars. So the whole question of space, and 2 days ago they're saying that they have this repeated radio signal that is coming from 1 billion light years away, another galaxy.
Yeah. They've been, yeah.
When I see these things, boy, I just shake my head. But
That's-
the and I'm saying all of this to say, with all of these advances taking place, we are very slow to apply them to our own development, to our own businesses, to our own. Well, we tend to think that once we could speak on a phone, make a WhatsApp call, send a video, receive a video, or something like that. That is the sum total of what this thing is about. But no, there's a lot more to it, and we need to get serious about making them useful to us. So, I for example, I don't know how it is in Grenada. I see tourists, especially on a Sunday, outside some buildings, and Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
From the time I see them pile up, I know what they're doing. St. Lucia has just had a Wi-Fi project paid for by the Taiwanese. All right, and they're trying to put Wi-Fi throughout the entire country. So they start with castles and stuff. These are the real areas of development. Because when a tourist comes to you and the tourists can easily use their phones, hook onto some Wi-Fi and send back a video of where they are, a picture, that is how the new form of advertising is really taking place. It's not the fancy slick ads, it's them saying right now on a Facebook Live, this is what we are doing.
Yeah.
You understand? That is what, and it's because that transmits the feeling, the spirit, but we're not seeing that's where we ought to be.
And it's amazing, it's kind of like everywhere people go, they need to have that one moment in time where they can just fling off a
That's
picture.
Right. Yeah. They want to do it now because the next place they move to brings a whole new experience. And so we have to make those things available. And when I saw St. Lucia requested that of the Taiwanese, I said, that's a smart move. That's understanding what's going to happen. But I was going to talk about a project that's on called CASIP, which is going to be a project between St. Lucia, Grenada, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines, where the World Bank is spending, I can't remember how much money it is. But the whole thrust of this new thing is going to be, in a sense, a kind of pilot, is where they're going to be introducing 5G. Now, 5G is, we are actually at 4G at the moment, even with LTE. LTE is just an upgrade of 4G. But what 5G is supposed to be about is what is called the Internet of Things. What does that mean? It means that just about anything you buy will be able to be connected to the Internet. Right? So your coffee pot, the wall in your house, I might sound ridiculous, but I'm not being ridiculous, right? Your motor vehicle.
But that's correct. And that's here already.
Right. So autonomous
that's
vehicles.
Pretty much here already. The smart house.
The smart house, precisely.
The smart house is already here.
Autonomous vehicles. People say, oh, well, you see in these parts, nobody ain't going to be driving the vehicle that don't have nobody driving it. Really?
But that's the exact reason why I asked you if you looked at CES, because one of the things coming out of CES is this driverless motorcycle. And there's also that's going to, and then there was something else that I can't remember what it is, that's going to be taking off and landing pretty much as a helicopter does.
The drones?
No, not a drone.
No?
No, I think it's the motorcycle or car or something of that nature. Yeah,
Kind of
that's going to be
frightening.
taking off and landing as a helicopter does.
Yeah.
You know,
I mentioned drones because Amazon is talking about using drones for delivery.
they're already doing it.
See?
Did I send you? And then actually there's a company in Australia. There's a company in Australia that's already delivering food like that, right? They're running a test pilot in Australia, and there's war between the neighbors because apparently for those who want it and those who don't, because those
Come
who
on,
don't are saying that
guys.
it's noisy, it's this, it's that. But right now, you can order. They're doing this test. I saw the thing. I read it just the other night. But so they're doing this pilot, and so you can order the food. You just as how you would order and have a delivery person bring that to you. It's now being delivered by a drone.
Yeah.
And the drone is programmed to get there to whatever the address is. It gets there and it releases the food and everything else. So it lands, releases the food and everything else, and then makes its merry way back to wherever it has to go.
Yeah.
So,
I'm saying all this to say, folks, this is where sometimes we tend to think, oh, these are not for us. But let me tell you something. The world today is one space, right?
Yeah.
And we just need to get with that program. Lots of happening, and we are not making sufficient use of the technology we have. We buy these expensive smartphones, $3,000, $4,000 for a smartphone. To do what?
You know what I find interesting is like if you go to a place, next thing you know, you say half a dozen ads pop up on your phone about that place.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, now that is disgusting.
You could say so, but that's how the people then paying for you to get.
But you want to know what's also frightening is you almost think that they're actually reading your minds. I'm noticing this has been happening quite frequently. Sometimes I sit at work and I'm like, I'm looking for something, and by the time I pick up Google and I start to type the beginning of what is, I'm just seeing all the suggestions coming up for. It's literally frightening. I mean, the notion that somebody is actually predicting
what you
or something is predicting what I'm going to be putting inside of there is not cool. It's really, really not cool.
Mathematics.
That's true.
Mathematics.
Yes.
The algorithms are taking over our world. That's basically
yeah.
Yes. And you look at these things and you wonder, so how did they know I was here? How do they know I may be interested in this? How do they know this? How did they know? They got you.
Because the data is passing them.
Oh, yeah.
That is why there's this big concern right now about what's the company? Huawei. That company, the Chinese company called Huawei.
Yes.
Right? There's a huge concern about the fact that China is using the equipment to spy. So Canada has protested. So has the United States.
Yes.
Australia has basically said no, and India has said no. No, I know for a fact that they have just made a deal with the Caribbean.
That's correct. But not only that too, there was they found that because everything's made in China, and they found that a lot of the phones that they were making as well, they had they had this little thing in it that could spy on stuff basically. And the US made a big stink out of it. So I think, we hope it was done that on phones that are made and sold to the US, that has been disabled or discontinued in those phones.
Please.
And that's all phones. But, for the rest of the world, it's like.
Yeah, but you see what that could come to. If the US is objecting and we have them offering the service here, suppose the US says to us they're not interconnecting us. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
exactly. And that's
all of these things, nobody says anything about them. I find it amazing.
If the US objects to it, then it's a bigger issue than just the US objects to those phones being imported into their country. Because if they're going to be imported elsewhere, it's like, so what difference does it make?
The thing is, look, we have to be realistic about stuff, right? Is that everybody spies, everybody's seeking to control. But as I always say, it's a matter of which devil I want to deal with. And I find some devils scarier than others. So I'll stick with the devils that I know. Than the ones I don't.
No, but you see, the point is, if you have two nations, to me, Canada is one of the most liberal nations right or not right now. No two ways about it. And if they complained, in fact, 5 intelligence organizations warned Canada before they made the implementation. And during the implementation, they realized that something was happening and had to pull back. All right? So there must be something to be worried about.
Oh, yeah, there is.
There must be something to be worried about. So my thing is, so we plunging along merrily, and the United States and UK and all them say to us, hey guys, we're not interconnecting your equipment, eh?
Exactly. So it's a situation that whatever the US doesn't want in the phone is that bad, then there has to be more than just a US effort. Because if we have it here in the Caribbean, we have tons of people from the US coming to the Caribbean every day. If they come here and buy one of the phones, the US going to take it from them at the border.
Well, you see, they don't even need, the point is they don't even need, no, Bev, that's not the thing. Buying the phone is not the issue. The highway, the data highway that goes to them is the issue, not the phone. Not the phone. Phone is the small part.
No, what I'm saying is that is the bigger issue. So put it another way, buying the phone is ridiculous. It's a waste of time.
Yes, precisely. Buying the phone is like, okay, that is kind of the obvious. But Canada and the US and stuff were not complaining because people bought phones only. They were complaining the fact that the data streams, because what they say was happening, they were bypassing some data streams so that they must pass through China. And once they pass through China just takes off the data that they want.
Yeah. Well, and which was kind of like the person that was talking today, and the person was saying too that maybe that's the reason why, you still need, despite the evils that Facebook and stuff has been engaged in, you would still need a Facebook to sort of neutralize
a
Huawei. Yes. You still, so it's kind of like, it's an evil, but you need it to neutralize. Yeah.
And more importantly is that we need to get an understanding. George,
yeah, George's headphones off, so he's not even hearing.
He's not hearing us, and he's not hearing everything he says.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bev.
Let me see if I can.
George, put your headphones on and mute your mic. That's all you need to do.
I sent him a message. I hope he sees it.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So the other thing we wanted to look at this evening, since we're having, I really don't know, this is when technology doesn't work the way it should, you see? Because our guest is there, she's connected, she's hearing us fine, but somehow her computer is not detecting her microphone, so she's unable to talk to us, and we have been doing some troubleshooting here in the background with her to try and get her to try and resolve the issue, but nothing that we've tried so far has worked, and we're still trying. So folks listening out there, if you hear some strange gibberish in the background and conversations that you can't follow, you don't even understand, those are just some of the troubleshooting leaking out where it shouldn't go. The other issue we had mentioned on our menu were the protests in Grenada. There was an interview with Prem beyond the headlines on Monday. And of course, it has made the talks and made the rounds and all the thing that goes with when the Prime Minister does an interview. I have not listened to it in its entirety, again, we say not everything is fit for airplay, but let's just say I have not listened to it in its entirety. But one of the issues which naturally came up was about the industrial climate. And it is, I was quite amused really at the way the Prime Minister just dismissed it and said, well, I don't see nothing unusual in the industrial climate.
He said that?
Yeah. I'm not quoting him, you know, I'm just paraphrasing. I don't see anything unusual in the industrial climate. The teachers have a dispute and they're negotiating, and I expect it to be resolved very soon and very rapidly.
What about the lawyers?
The lawyers, again, he has absolutely downplayed what they're saying, you know, and as a matter of fact, I've tried to say that some of the things that they have put out in their statement, not absolutely true, you know, this is really not the way things are. You know, I don't know what they think they saw, but it's not what they saw. And I am just sitting there rocking in my chair and don't know whether to have a Grenada somewhere that some people live in one. And I'm not talking about Granada in Spain. But is there not a Grenada somewhere that some people live in? You know, it's like what you're seeing in this Grenada is not the same thing. The Prime Minister is saying, oh, no big thing, nothing unusual going on, nothing out of the way going on, you know. And then next thing you know, the unions have announced that this Friday is the last meeting they're going to, because Fridays was set aside for negotiations between the unions and the teacher. And for those listening, we're speaking assuming everybody knows what's going on, but just to give a quick background on the issue, teachers have taken industrial action since November last year to press demands for settlement on the 25% gratuity payment. Government has said no can do. At first they offered 5%, and then they came back and offered 8% over 8 years. I believe we're hearing Mrs. Modesto, is that so?
Hearing? Oh yeah, she's unmuted at least.
Mrs. Modest. Yeah, well, she's unmuted, but Mrs. Modest, if you're hearing us, can you say something? We'd really like to know if we can hear you now. Right, so just to give a little background on that. So in November, and I understand in December as well, although personally I was not able to confirm, but I have heard that salaries were docked in December as well. They were certainly docked in November, hugely, bigly. And understand that there was also some docking of the salaries in December. And the teachers have been on work to rule since. Extracurricular activities, co-curricular activities have certainly been affected. And all of this is happening. In the midst of that, the lawyers came out and had a protest on the lawns of the registry in St. George's in Grenada to press again and to bring attention to their issue where the courts in Grenada have not been functioning properly since last year May. They have nowhere to sit. They have borrowed. I am hearing some sound from Mrs. Modest.
Yeah, she came up and then she went back to have it on.
Yeah.
But there was some that came through.
Yeah, some sound came through a while ago. Mrs. Modest, if you're hearing us, you did something a while ago that caused sound to come through.
And do it.
If you could do it again, please, then we could hear you. Right, so the lawyers went out and they were joined by civic groups and some of the smaller political parties in their protest, you know, to bring some attention to the fact that the courts have not been sitting. We already have a backlog of cases and this is not helping. There is one courtroom that is being used at the Parliament building and it's a rotating court. Criminal court, civil court, everybody using it. So, you know, everybody get a day, it's a susuhan. So this situation, it's just not, it's not conducive to dispensing justice. And I am sure a lot of these lawyers not able to make no money because they can't go into the court. And in the court is where the lawyers work. So their livelihood has to be impacted again bigly. So these two issues are there, and our Prime Minister is like, not going on. What industrial climate you're talking about? You know? And I'm like, okay, maybe this is not Grenada in the Southern Caribbean, it's a different Grenada. So let me just leave it right there. But to continue on that discussion, there really has been a lot of social unrest in Grenada over the past few months. The public servants, while the teachers are at the forefront, it's not just the teachers. Public servants are at the forefront. And in a post-Caribbean briefing this week, Minister Boyne, it was who hosted the post-Caribbean, post-cabinet. Why do I keep saying post-Caribbean?
You're right, post-Caribbean. You're dead right about that.
What is pre-Caribbean? But if there's a post, there has to be a pre.
Pre-Caribbean was slavery.
That time we were Caribbean. Yes, right. So in the post-cabinet briefing, he said something to the effect that people who have left this public service since 2014, and 2014 is the year he used, I don't know why. People have left the public service since 2014, still waiting on their gratuity payments and still waiting on the pension. And they have so many months of pension to pay these people. And while all of this is going on and things not settled, the people can't get no money. And I'm like, really? Really? I don't know. I would have needed to ask him some more questions on that because it just don't make sense to me.
Was it a press conference?
Yes. If people left the service and the age of retirement is 60, when you're 60, your pension you're supposed to start get your pension.
Yep.
Yeah. And they would have already known how much your monthly pension is going to be. So you need to be getting your pension. If the percentage gratuity is not settled, how would that affect your monthly pension payment?
Yeah, because your monthly pension payment should be whatever it is.
Exactly. So you pay the monthly pension payment, and when you decide on the gratuity, you pay the people the gratuity and you work out the back end. And if it so happens that it don't settle till 5 years down the road, you do the same thing. So you're gonna say if it is not settled till 5 years down the road, these people who leave the service from 2014 or 2025, they would not have collected any pension. Those who would have gone have reached the age of 60. It wasn't making any sense to me at all. I see Mrs. Modest's microphone again is off. And as we go into the home stretch on Mek We Chat, I am asking again, Mrs. Modest, can you say something so that we can know if any audio is coming through from your end? Because we do not see your microphone again, which
Bev,
is giving us an indication. Yes, George.
let me give it to you in local parlance. They're joking up the computer.
But audio came through a while ago, you know.
Yeah, I just called and explained that to them. So she said, "Oh." I mean, she was surprised to hear that the audio had come through. So right now, apparently there's a problem with her headphones, and there's some patchwork that was done, and they're trying to repatch that patchwork. So
I hope they're depatching it.
But I've also told her that
I know she really, really wants to come on.
Yeah, and she says she must find a way before 10 o'clock to get this thing resolved. But I've also promised
bring
her
back if you don't get it instead of just.
I've already told her that, Jerry, that We'll try and get together sometime between now and next Thursday and sort this out.
Right, so that because no sense we rush it if it's such an important thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, child care and protection is an important issue.
No, just before you came on, there was this guy who he has a accounting service, and he was making some revelation on 3 children, and really complain about this. The quote: imagine the child, the mother complained. Look back. There's audio.
Oh,
Well, it was.
Mm-hmm.
Keep on joking, lady.
Mrs. Modest, say something. No, it's not coming through again. Okay, go ahead, Jerry.
Yeah, and the mother of the child complained to the police that the father was abusing the child. Matter went to court. The court released the child back to the father's care. And this guy tonight,
father's care?
Because the people involved in it are all officers of the court. So the mother is now being seen as the troublemaker. And the same father who is the alleged abuser has the children.
What's custody of the child?
I mean, sometimes I just give punishment, and I absolutely give it because we're not serious. We sit there, and when we see all of these other things happening overseas, we have a lot to say. And then when we see the flagrant disregard in our own space, everybody has a different excuse.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he was just on for about an hour complaining about that. You know, that the mother who brought the case,
all of a sudden, she's the villain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but here's what though, Jerry. I mean, you know, if an accusation is made, right, I don't want somebody to be penalized for something unless, you know, you've done.
Oh no, they've done the work.
I think the best.
They've done the work.
Right,
he was reading from the case, and the case presented by the way call these people again, the social worker. He was reading.
Okay.
This child was being abused from the age 3. The 5. He was reading from the case. But because the matter has to do with people who have access and relations in the court is making the mother out to be the problem. And that's why the guy has gone crazy. He says, no. He says, I'm not going to leave this here.
Wow.
No, it's not just a case of innocent until proven guilty. There's been enough evidence, enough investigation.
No, I know, but I was going on to say that, you know, if that's the situation, the children child should be removed from both situations until the investigation is complete. Yeah.
The child should be in protective custody. And that's the point that the counsel was making. That this child should be in protective custody. But what really has happened now is that the court has sent back the child to the father, so in a sense, the child is in protective custody with the abuser, alleged abuser.
Oh. Wow.
So I tell you, the Caribbean
is
special.
You see why I physically stay far from these things? Because things like that now, I just go mad. I'm like a bull in a China shop.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, the guy was blue. You know, he wasn't holding no punches tonight. He said he's not going to stop.
How can you do that to a child? Because somebody's reputation more important.
Wow.
Oh,
whoa! I tell you, it never ends.
To me, the easiest thing would be take the child and put the child in some custody. Let all the other basa happen, but take the child out of it.
Exactly.
Because the primary, the objective, the only thing which is important is to protect that child and to keep the child from any further trauma.
Not so though. Not so.
Man, what is wrong with adults?
We special, boy. We really special, you know.
We special. Trust me, we special.
Man. We special.
George, let's take our final break, because I need to go get a glass of water.
I was thinking the same thing. I need one myself, so let me do that too.
Grenadian General Insurance Company, strength and stability. Grenadian General Insurance Company. Tell your friends, tell your family. We cover householders comprehensive. comprehensive. Motor and even fire too. Contractors all risk burglary, public liability, professional indemnity, directors liability, and wait, we still have more. Come and find out more what you're waiting for.
We are located on Scott Street, St. George's. For more information, call 440-2434.
Tell everybody.
Together with you, our customers, we energize our community.
Together with you, we energize our economy.
We are working together to give our nation a better tomorrow.
With you, we energize our future. Together, we energize our nation.
Thank you for partnering with us as we energize our Speyside.
Redleg, energizing our Grenada.
Juve chocolates, cocoa nibs, and cocoa balls from Diamond Estate Grenada are now available at Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, Amazon.co.uk, and GrenadaMarket.com. Try the sensational touch of nutmeg and a touch of ginger chocolates, 75% dark and rich, 100% pure cocoa, and their 60% dark and sweet chocolate bars today. Amazon Prime members enjoy free shipping on these orders in the USA, Canada, and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
All right, folks, we are back. Just before I turn it back over to you guys, Mr. George. Mr. George.
Unmute.
Unmute, Jerry. Unmute.
Okay, yeah.
Yes, Mr. George. You just whet my appetite. What was that bottle you had in your hand?
A bottle.
Bottle off?
Yeah. Turn it around.
Why?
Turn it around.
Why?
Turn it around.
I shall introduce you to a unique Vincentian product.
Okay.
What's that?
It's called Schoolboy Beer. But note, it says
Schoolboy?
non-alcoholic. It is actually
beer.
Morby.
Oh, really?
But there's this he's died since, who put this together, and the thing sells like crazy. It's Morby, but they allow it to get a fizz to it, and it's called Schoolboy Beer. So I was drinking Schoolboy Beer.
Okay. Next time you come down, bring some along. I'm curious.
Okay, I will. Promise you that.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Okay. Take it away, guys.
Let you get a sip.
Yeah.
You know, I have a daughter who loves.
Oh no, that's to you.
Sorrel Shandy, you know. As I hear George telling you to bring down some. Every time I go in where she is, Shandy I bring for her. Because she's calling me, you know. And she ain't coming for me on the airport if I don't have the sorrel. I stay in there.
That's the deal.
Oh boy, it's always so entertaining every time, you know, you hear the security hollering for me in the airport. I have to check to see what is this I have in my bag. It's only Sorrel Shandy. Why she love that thing.
You could tell.
Oh boy. Yes, so we are back. And we were looking at the protests in Grenada, and you know, just the way our friends was looking at them this week, as if they, you know, it's just a fly on the wall or just a mosquito.
But do you think that the lawyers protest flattered to deceive?
I don't think so. I believe they are really hurting.
I'm not saying they aren't, you know, talking about their protest action.
I don't know. I haven't really given it much thought, because from the fact that the president of the bar is going to come out and say this is not no bacchanalia and stuff like that, I just dismiss it one time.
No, but I take the edge off it for other people too.
Exactly so, because if you're protesting, you're protesting. I was still happy to see that other groups went out there and joined with them to make a statement. But if you're protesting, you're protesting. Why are you trying to sugarcoat it? And this is the kind of play nice business that playing nice has its place, you know. But it's not every time you can play nice and be politically correct. There are times when you just have to go out there and protest.
You know, the problem I find in our region, and the politicians know it. They know that certain class, certain people in the society will never find themselves out there, even though they're hurting. They know it. Know it.
And that is why things get the way they are.
Exactly.
Where we are, because people too nice to protest, you know. Mm-hmm. We cannot go there and make noise because we just too nice, you know. We, in Jamaica, we would say we stoosh.
Too stoosh.
Stoosh. Yeah. So, you know.
You could be nice, but in a firm and serious way. There's a way you can do it as well. You know.
But you can't be protesting and be nice. You just can't do the two things. I'm very sorry.
Exactly.
You cannot do the two things.
The teachers who were protesting, they were nice. They were decent.
Well, not according to what the president of the bar said.
Yeah, that's what happened. There wasn't
the indication she gave is that was bacchanalia.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be having no marching,
with
no
the
bacchanalia.
placards and the chanting.
Hello, that alone would have taken away a lot of the edge from what they wanted.
Definitely.
But Jerry, let me ask you this. You know, the protest was advertised as taking place at 9 o'clock in the morning, okay? Well, you know that at 9 o'clock I'm on the air until 10. And I did not get down to the registry until about 11 o'clock. When I got down there, I was the only person there because the protest, seriously, I'm not kidding you, the protest had already ended.
Right. That's not serious.
Really? How long they were there for?
So, Bev, did you see it?
I saw it on TV because, like George, I was not able to go down there at 9 o'clock. And at the time when I could have gone, I said to myself, based on what I heard that protest done, I ain't wasting the time to go fight up in St. George's to find place to park, and I am sure the protest done. And I was right. Or when George got there at 11, it was over. That would have been around the time I would have gotten there.
Miss Sinclair.
So
Miss Sinclair.
I would have wasted my time.
Miss Sinclair, I asked you a
Yes.
straight question when we started this. Did the protest flatter to deceive? And you play a kind of weave about and you answer me. But from what you just said, that's exactly what happened. It flattered to deceive. Call it like it is.
Yeah, I mean, no.
But after I heard that, I sat down and I said, I wanted to pose that, and then I said, no. Change doesn't happen from the top.
Nope, never does.
Change happens from the bottom. And until the proletariat and the masses, and however you want to call them, decide to say, look,
enough of this.
I'm not getting justice, and enough of this, ain't nothing
It's either take the young people.
Jerry, Margaret, let me add to that. Change is chaotic.
That's very true.
It's what?
It is chaotic.
Is chaotic.
Duh.
Chaotic.
In technology everywhere. Why you think the technology is called disrupting? You cannot change if you don't disrupt. That is just this kind of nicey thing annoys me. It's either you want it to change or you don't. If you don't, stop with it.
I was cracking up. I was cracking up when I heard that. But I was like, Margaret, behave yourself.
If you want change, get rid of the old, get the new.
Because you have to smash it. If your house is take a sledgehammer and whack
change it.
Because if you got a house is full of old garbage and you want it to be new, you got to get rid of the old things.
The old wineskins.
What did the Bible say about new wine?
Thank you.
You can't put it in old
Thank
caskets.
you.
Thank you very much.
By the way, guys, I hope you were paying attention to some comments that were made by the president of the Bar Association, Lisa Taylor. She was on the program here the day before the protest, and she made it clear. This is only the beginning. They're not prepared to stop here. They are hoping for a positive outcome because of the protest they had this week. But if they have to go further, they will.
Yeah, but before that she mentioned, George, because George, I played a bit of your interview with her on my morning show.
Yeah.
Before that she went, she talking about suing them.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But
and
where?
through the same courts,
Where?
exactly.
I forgot to use it again. Sue them where?
Well, when the one court rotates, they will get the Susu on too.
And they just play them the game. They just play them. Yeah, happen.
Yeah, because we too nice. We don't want to bacchanal.
I think we need to bring out some Jamaican down here.
Why are you?
Not the
You
nice ones
understand?
like some people I know.
Them Jamaicans.
Margaret?
Nah.
Not the nicey ones.
We don't want the
Not
sushi ones. Yeah, we want them. Yeah, we want them sushi ones.
Well, that's the nicest protest I ever seen in my life. I've never seen a protest like that. Nowhere in the world.
All was missing was the tea and crumpets.
Nowhere in the world I've seen it. That's the nicest protest. That's something new. You're protesting. Doctors, lawyers, everybody here protests with placards. That's the protest.
Listen, but you didn't have to have that. They could have had a silent protest with placards and be still as effective.
You don't have to make no noise. You just have to have the placard.
I'm not saying that you had to go and jump up. Everybody to each his own. It doesn't mean that because somebody chooses to protest one way, that their means of protest is illegitimate and your means of protest is legitimate.
Oi.
I mean,
George, Wait, hold on, Margaret. George, I take it away a piece of your job. John Kennison says, I'm going to import loads of yellow vests.
I agree, John. I agree, John. 100%. We need some
Yellow
vests
vests.
here.
Come
A
on.
money maker.
Bring it on.
Tell John we need some yellow rooms. Tell John we need some yellow rooms.
We gotta do like do you see there was this thing I think I saw that some women in France were now wearing the yellow vest. They came out and were taking over. Yeah, we need the yellow vest here.
No, we need yellow. In the case of the lawyers, we want yellow robes.
We need yellow robes.
Whatever.
So you see, I totally support lawyers in their fight and in their quest.
Absolutely.
But I really can't support this tush protest. Sorry. As much as they used to call me Stushy when I go in school, but I can't support
they did?
the protest.
So that's why we really need to send some real Jamaicans and true.
Yeah.
You confess.
You know what they say about that, right? Open confession is good for
the soul.
Right.
Good for the soul.
I'm not ashamed of it. It's my nickname. But when it's time to protest, it's a totally different story.
Yeah. To engage.
Yes, tushness has its place and protest has its place. And there is no change without upheaval, without chaos.
Yeah.
So
not the kind of change we expect and that we want. That kind of change is not going to come with you saying the justice system is in shambles and the Prime Minister saying, what industrial climate?
And then you just go and you stand up outside.
Hey. And it's not like you block a road or nothing.
You just go and stand up outside.
And things continue as normal.
I mean, I passing by and I see a group of people stand up there and doing nothing. Yeah.
No big thing. No big thing. So we just have to get real is the message I would put to this. And if we really want change, we have to be prepared to do what is necessary, as Malcolm X said.
Yeah.
And if we don't want change, stay in a little comfort zone.
Stay in your lane.
Yeah, stay in your lane. Don't come out.
Yeah, one of the things they could have done was, if they seriously want, and that involved back in earlier, just boycott the courts. On the day when the courts were open for cases, no lawyers show up. Boycott. That's protest. And it's not jumping in the street. So your clients would show up, but you won't be there.
That's right.
Court can't sit. That would be enough to irritate the clients and hopefully get the clients to start making noise.
To helping you. Exactly.
Because while we were running around in the referendum talking about access to justice.
And how important it is,
And how important it is. That money to ensure that people really have some access to justice. Because right now they don't have none. None. So people, I think we're down to our last few.
2 minutes.
Not even few, 2.
2 minutes.
Last
more like a minute and a half.
Yes.
Last couple of minutes.
It's George. Look at George.
Oh, where's my watch?
It's on the desk in front of you. New technology.
You know, I'm somebody who couldn't do without a watch for most of my life. And since I got addicted to this smartphone phenomenon, I have not used a watch. I've actually given away watches.
Hey, it's amazing how this thing does just change behavior,
Yeah.
What is that? What?
This whole technology and everything else, it just changes your behavior without you even realizing how that behavior has changed.
But we have to say we're very, very, very sorry that we were not able to link with Mrs. Modest 100%.
I did speak with her, and she has agreed to join us next week.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
All right, nice.
But then we're going to test the whole system and make sure everything goes.
Yeah.
Okay,
all right. Over to you, Jerry.
Well, folks, once again, thanks for joining us for another edition of Mek We Chat. Mek We Chat comes to each Thursday evening from 8 to 10 p.m. Usual suspects, and then we have our guests that brings light on different subjects. Thanks for joining us. So long. Until we meet again next week, God willing.